And now we've improved the class on the
We
desk.
certainly have. You might be the longest tenured or sitting commissioner in the state, are you?
Actually,
Al Carbone of the SEC, 14th year now?
Actually, yes, 14th year. Yes, I am, because when John Kutzko stepped down,
he invented sports.
Yeah, exactly. he created Fairfield County sports. When he stepped down from the FCAC, retired. That's right. I am the longest tenured, and probably have the most complaints too in that period of time too.
What do you have to complain about?
That's what we love about you. That's what makes the SEC successful. Is that you're always on something, right? You're always working on something to make it better. So let's talk about this fall. You guys had a very successful fall. People always want to talk about football because it's the glamour sport. Daniel Hand winning a state championship. I don't know if many people would have been surprised that an SEC team was going to win a state championship in football, but maybe that it would be Daniel Hand coming into this season was perhaps something of a surprise, right?
Yeah, well, I think, first of all, we had 7 teams that made the playoffs. And I like to always talk about the depth of our league. When people compare conferences, and especially in the sport of football, and we have 7 teams that make the playoffs. It's a great feat. In 3 different classes, too, ML and double L. That was nice. A couple teams had to play each other in that first round, which is, unfortunate. But, Daniel Hand, unbelievable run. Beat North Haven, which I kind of said when they played North Haven in the quarterfinals to SEC. Whoever wins that game is going to go to the state championship. And then Hand rolled over Windsor, and I tell you, beat a very good Massac team.
Very good Massac team.
The depth, not only in football, but throughout the sports, winter, spring, summer, fall, doesn't really, well, not summer, but winter, spring, and fall, you have, whether it's field hockey, girls soccer, boys. You had a girls soccer championship from Daniel Hand, and volleyball. You had teams reaching the finals and the semis as well. There's great depth. How do you work with these schools to build that depth?
Well, it's funny because you talk about the different sports. That's how you judge your league, is whether you can get teams to the state finals. And I don't say that teams you have to win a state title. Get to the state finals, because I say I have 6 champions, but we also had 6 runners-up. So like in girls volleyball, we had 2 state finalists. Awesome. Field hockey, we had a state champion. Daniel Hand had 3, boys soccer champion. In football, girls swimming, we had 2 champions in Cheshire and Laurelton Hall. So that's a really good thing. And then I think the most impressive sport this fall has been cross country, boys cross country. We have Xavier, who won our SEC. They didn't win the Class Double L because a couple kids fell and a little thing. They
won the Open.
The Open, won the New England's, win the Northeast Regional race in Wappingers Falls, New York. Mm-hmm. They get invited to the New Balance National Championship, Nike.
Yes.
In
Portland,
Portland, Oregon, which was unbelievable. First Connecticut team to get there. And then individually, we have Fairfield Prep's Drew Thompson, a senior, 3-time winner of the SEC race. He won the Class Double L race, wins the State Open race, wins the New England race, goes to the Northeast Regional race down in New York, in the Bronx, comes in 7th, qualifies for the Foot Locker National Championship race, comes in 8th last Saturday in the snow. It's snowing here. Yeah. I'm watching it in beautiful San Diego. He comes in 8th, makes a great push, best finish by a Connecticut runner. Unbelievable. So, very impressive with that fall.
So, all right, we've talked about the successes. I want to ask you a couple questions. I want to get into a couple of issues because we don't have as much time as we need. Okay, so we have Hill House winning the state championship in boys basketball last year, and then boom, we lose all these players to private schools, right? You got 2 all-state players going from Hill House transferring over to Hampton Hall. How do we keep some of these kids in the public school system? How do we keep them on teams? Listen, I know this is an impossible question, but
it's an impossible question because right now in today's society, because of the fervor of youth sports at the 3rd, 4th grade level, and what those prep schools and private schools can offer is repeating the year. I don't know what is happening in that repeating of that year. It's got to be for athletics. Is it for academics? Because I think our public school system, and as a son of 2 educators, married to an educator, I think our public school system in the state of Connecticut is pretty darn good. So what is the appealing? It's the sports. It's the extra year of getting that. You see that in hockey, where again, ask Rand Pecknold at Quinnipiac University, who's built that program, he's not recruiting 18-year-olds. He's recruiting 21-year-olds who have played junior hockey. And that's the trend. And now you're seeing it in every sport. Can I just repeat another year, get more mature, get more physical so I can get that college scholarship? It's hard.
You have 23 members. How do you make it work? You've expanded recently. Now you have you've had scheduling, interconference with the ECC. How do you make 23? That's almost as big as a state classification, LLL, et cetera.
The great thing about it is we're a very diverse league: urban, suburban, parochial. So there's a challenge there because you have a diverse league. That's great for competition. It's great for working together, but it's also great for the point of like when you want to get bigger and you have better scheduling, because that's what it's all about. It's about scheduling. Coaches look at wins and losses. And so when you could do things with other leagues and bring schools in, like we did in girls ice hockey from around the state to build a league, to build a conference, and then you can have alliances with other leagues to get good games, that's what keeps kids at their schools. That's what keeps programs afloat, because now they're looking at their schedule saying, oh my God, I don't have to play these tough games. No, I'm playing like teams that I can be competitive with. And then I'm going to stay at school because I know I'm going to be successful and get rewarded for it. And that's the thing, is you have to always be a little progressive in thinking of saying is it's not just the boundaries we live in, it's going out there and getting those competitive games. Because people will drive, all over the place to go play competitive games, right. But they don't want to go 5 minutes and get their doors blown in because of that. And that has, obviously benefits and, negative aspects as well.
Certainly.
When you can't schedule competitive games.
Let me ask you one more question. How did things go with the new teams joining you from football?
Great. I thought Bassick and Harding. Bassick struggled a little bit, but building the program, Harding was very competitive. Mm-hmm. They had made the state playoffs the 2 previous years, but they came in and they battled, and you saw that towards the end of the year when they played Fairfield Prep and Cheshire in the last few weeks.
Look, they
12 to
easily
8.
could have won that Fairfield Prep game.
And the Cheshire game, they kind of got down and came back, and then they rolled over Bridgeport Central on Thanksgiving. So again, both schools, it was unfortunate we couldn't really get them into our league.
Why not complete full membership?
I think they have there's some work that needs to be done in the city of Bridgeport for their funding of their programs. And there's some there's some issues, and they acknowledged it. And we had asked them as a league to maybe make some improvements. And it didn't seem like there was really a commitment there. Our membership who votes on it just didn't really feel that they were ready just yet. They were satisfied with their football because they've made the commitment there. But but their basketball teams have been very successful. But it's the other sports, because again, we offer 28 sports in our league, and our league members want that full schedule. They want teams that are going to be offering that, and that's what it comes down to in high school sports, is offering those full complement of programs, especially at the sub-varsity level, because that's where you develop your varsity teams. Everyone sees the varsity games because they get their the results in the paper, get it on TV, but it's the sub-varsity, the freshman and JV programs, where you build your program. You get the kids continuity from your towns, and that's a bigger issue too in high school sports, and probably leads to that first question you asked me about why are these kids leaving, and saying is that if do they get a chance to develop in a program and get that continuity.
Look, we could talk about this all day, and you could do a whole seminar to other commissioners of other conferences. Al Carbone, it was great having you on. Finally, how many times do we have to ask you before you finally come on our show?
Dodging us, running the other way.
No more 6 a.m. text, you guys.
Thank you.
Will you come back?
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We love
Monday?
it. We'll do something.
Whatever
we'll
you need
a
me.
regular schedule.
Francesa wants me to go do his slot, but it's a big day.
It's open now. We'll be right back here on CT Sports Now.